It's the Alfie Brown Show. It is the 10th of January 2022, and all the things that we promised ourselves we'd do with this new year, we're succeeding in. We're succeeding. I'm succeeding. I feel very humble. I feel so self-effacing. I really do. I'm a very, very modest person. Today, I was so self-effacing that I could hardly believe it. I was just so incredibly unwilling to take credit for any of the things that I'd done. I just thought it was a remarkable behaviour from me. I really did. I'm just so modest. So modest. I wonder how big or great a virtue modesty really is. In terms of, we like it in people, but do we like modesty in others because we are quite loathed about, or quite insecure about the qualities that we don't possess? So we like other people to be modest and go, I just owe it to everybody else, really. I really do. I owe all of this to everybody else. Good. Because it's not your you have been lucky, haven't you? I've been unlucky. You've been lucky. Thank you for being modest and saving me the ill feeling that I was going to have toward myself. I'm very happy that actually you can take no credit whatsoever for all of the marvellous things that have happened to you. Is that good? Modesty in that sense? I suppose if it's saving somebody's feelings, but maybe that person needed a bit of a kick up the arse. Maybe if you'd gone, I just work really hard and I'm talented. And I found, through a combination of hard work and talent, that, and some other factors, of course I'm not kind of demented. I know that there were other factors at play, but two huge factors, and the ones that were most present and active as kind of participating elements in my own life as I live it, that was hard work. Talent, less so, although the hard work has kind of created, harnessed, and made the talent what it is. Talent wasn't kind of a kind of characteristic that I was born with. Perhaps the ceiling that the talent in me has was kind of preordained from birth. I had a ceiling of talent in certain areas, some high ceilings, some low ceilings. Guitar, low ceiling. Sprinting, high ceiling. I'm being a hypothetical person, obviously. I'm not a good sprinter. I'm a better guitarist. But in this hypothetical person, through hard work, through muscles that were set in certain fashion, it's a combination of things. Talent doesn't really exist. Talent is theoretical without hard work. Oh, I'm so naturally talented. Yeah, but it doesn't mean anything. Like that, you've got to put in hours and hours to even finding out what your talent might be. Your talent probably aligns with what your passion is. I am not a very passionate sprinter because I am a shit sprinter, and therefore those two things are quite well aligned for me. The sad thing for me is I'm a very, very passionate cricketer, but I'm just awful, just a really embarrassingly shit cricketer. Same with all sports, really. I'm very passionate football, but I can't I can't play it. Whether the reward be love or money, which it so often is for these footballers, I couldn't do it. There's just no way. So you have to give these people credit for the hard work that they put in. And the hard work in discovering their talent, in exercising their talent, and you know, we like that. I like to see a talented person play football. Heck, I did it yesterday. Went to go and see 22 talented people play football. 11 3 goals more talented on the day than the other team. I'll come back to that later. I mean, obviously, I'm also not saying that modesty isn't a great virtue, and also being kind of braggadly and not accepting the luck that has occurred, or the benefit, the circumstantial benefits that have lit your path and made your journey towards where you are easier. But also it's quite annoying. I mean, what you really like is I imagine, if you're anything like me, what you really like is somebody who is completely adept at totally accurate self-analysis. Keanu Reeves is a very humble guy, but he can afford to be humble, and we don't really think any less of him for it. He knows very well to be humble because he isn't a very good actor. He's been kind of quite lucky, and he's got a good level of sort of low energy charisma, or whatever you want to call it. But it looks really good when he's humble because he has been quite lucky. Not that it's not great that he was lucky, or that he, you know, he's very lucky to be so handsome. But I mean, there's the hard work to maintain his shape and to eat right and to do all those things. So I can suppose we can afford him some kind of credit in that department. And I suppose the manufacturing, if it is manufactured, I mean, to an extent, everything that we are and who we are is manufactured by what we think internally it's important to be. Does that make sense? There's no way you can answer. So Keanu Reeves, not a very good actor, lands a couple of roles. He is brilliant in Parenthood, obviously, one of the great films, I mean, the great film about what it is to be a parent, in my opinion. If you haven't seen it, Steve Martin and a young Joaquin Phoenix. So what I'm just trying to get to the bottom of what we really benefit. Like, what he knows to be humble because he's not like a brilliant in so much as it is like remarkable when you see an incredible acting performance. He's, you know, quite a good character, and he plays this doofus airhead kind of punk, like pop punk jock character quite well. And he also plays surly, quiet action hero quite well. I mean, Neo is sort of a cross between the two from The Matrix. He is... I can't remember whether Keanu Reeves plays Bill or Ted, but whichever one of those, like, he's what happens to him when he's 33. And he goes, oh, God, all I wanted to do was, you know, be a pop star and a rock star, and now I work in IT, and I spend my evenings alone in this miserable flat, and just all these dreams, these fucking brown carpets and dead dreams. It's all my life is now. I look around and I see a appalling sort of mouldy cream-coloured box computer, and that's where I spend most of my life, at work in this computer. in this flat, in this computer, stained white walls and high rent, low ceilings and high rent, and fucking shitted dreams everywhere, all around me. Would you like to join the Matrix, Bill or Ted or Neo, whatever your name is, Mr. Anderson? Oh, yes, please. That seems better than my life. Well, it's all artificial now anyway. You spend it inside the computer. So you might as well realize your potential. Oh, whoa, dude, I'm doing karate. Whoa. And that was his journey, wasn't it? He leapt into a new world after that. I suppose Speed was before. Okay, I revised my opinion. I want to park my Keanu Reeves chat now. I think we've established how I feel about Keanu Reeves. I really, really like him. I just don't think it could be stated that he's a brilliant actor. Of course it couldn't. He isn't. He's just good at doing a couple of things. And those couple of things are almost the same thing. That's my point about Keanu Reeves. So he does very well to be humble. We like him being humble because we go, yeah, you've got, some... You should be humble. But what about somebody who's brilliant? Like Cristiano Ronaldo's not humble, but there's also lots of other things about Cristiano Ronaldo that are wrong. I'm not sure about the legality of rehashing old lawsuits in a published forum. I'm publishing this, so probably best not. I mean, it doesn't matter. Obviously, nobody's ever going to hear it. But what if I become a superstar, which I might do? Yeah, and then there's documented evidence of me slandering Cristiano Ronaldo, who is fucking weird, and I don't mind that. I'll go on record with that. I'll go on Newsnight with that. Big story. Cristiano Ronaldo is fucking weird. And here we have Alfie Brown, who, like, why are you so smooth? And sort of, why do you have this bizarre... Why does every smile look like a sneer? What's wrong with you? Like, yes. So we didn't mind Jose Mourinho, another Portuguese football person, a manager this time, and we liked his arrogance when he was good. And now he's shit. His arrogance just comes across as madness. But he would do well to be a bit more humble nowadays. But then as soon as he's humble, he goes, well, I'm not a very good... I think if he was to be humble and assess himself with some degree of accuracy, he might say, I'm like, it was all gone wrong for me. Everything I thought football was, it's sort of moved on from, and I'm sort of outmoded in all of my practices. So everything that worked for me 15, 16, 17 years ago now just doesn't work anymore because of the way that football tactically has changed and football as a people has changed. And it makes me redundant, totally redundant. And you go, that's very humble, Jose. And then he'd say, thank you. Will you still hire me to be a football manager? And we'd say, no, we won't. Because of all the things you just said about yourself, which were true, we perceive them to be true. So I suppose in his situation, you have to be a salesman for yourself. But there was humility would have been quite good when he first started. Oh, no. Special? Me? No, I'm okay. But then that... stylistically who he was as a manager, that wouldn't have worked. Okay, let's get a bit of clear thinking done here. So it was necessary for Jose Mourinho to be arrogant. It was necessary for Keanu Reeves to be humble. So now we're getting to a more horses for courses, arrogance and humility, like humility as a virtue like a blanket across the board, we're moving towards no here, I think, aren't we? We're moving slightly more towards the idea that humility is not always great, because it can be really annoying. False modesty. I hate false modesty. It is just another way to lie, says Janine Garofalo, who I'm sure, if she was being modest, would admit that her French accent in Ratatouille is good, but patchy. I just like it more when you can have an honest conversation with somebody. I appreciate that some people are insecure, and insecurity is different to humility. You can genuinely be terrified of what you are and whether you are of a high enough standard lover or footballer, comedian, playwright, fireman. Jesus Christ, don't go to work if you're having a low confidence day as a fireman. Jesus. But the insecurity about whether or not you are a good enough husband or wife, whether you're a good son or daughter, those insecurities are to be welcomed, because that means that you're assessing whether or not you are doing enough in your life to be what it is that you want to be, whether it be playwright or son or daughter or, epidemiologist. So that's good. It can kind of cause you mental anguish. It can cause you... it can spiral, I suppose. I suppose you could adequately analyze your own deficiencies without technically being insecure. Insecurity, maybe by definition, is when they spiral. When you start getting fucking caught in a vortex of self-hatred, and then your insecurity actually is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And you're insecure going, oh my God, what if my dick's not right? What if it looks weird? What if I'm not going to get hard? Oh my God, what if I'm not going to get hard? Oh my God, I'm not hard and I should be hard because she's here. Get out your own head. Stop talking to yourself. Why are you talking to yourself still? Why have you got a silly soft cock? The more you say soft cock, the more you have soft cock. The more you say, I'm a shit comedian, you go, oh my God, am I a shit comedian? Don't be a shit comedian right now. You're on stage. Oh my God. Can they tell? Can they tell? Yes, I've said this all out loud. Boo! Boo! Do you know what I mean? So insecurity is perhaps the spiraling analysis of one's own inadequacies. Obviously, it isn't very helpful. I mean, there are inadequacies to worry about because you can do something about them. Not to worry about, but to consider. There are inadequacies to just sort of make peace with, or like if you have a chin that you don't like. I'm not saying that there is a wrong chin to have. I'm just saying that if it's a chin that you personally, if it pulls focus a little bit, then obviously that isn't something worth considering. That's a different kind of insecurity. But it is you could consider the deficiency of your chin without having it spiral. When the idea of your chin comes to you. Also, I think you got a great chin. I really don't think you should worry about this chin business, okay? Very silly thing to get het up about. What is it? Is a weak chin, strong chin? There are loads of handsome people with weak chins. Does Adrian Brody have a weak chin? I think he does have a weak chin. And he's still great. Does he have a weak... No, he doesn't have a weak... Does he have a weak chin? Jeremy Strong from Succession, who plays Kendall Roy. Weak chin. Great guy. Great actor. He's probably quite irritatingly humble. Humility as a virtue. But humility isn't internal consideration, is it? Humility is performed inadequacy that you might I suppose that when Keanu Reeves, sorry to go back to him, is humble, what he's doing is saying, yeah, I'm fine, but look at all these great people. Look, she directed the film, and he was also great, and I wouldn't be here without any of these people. So maybe, okay, so it's not that humility that's accurate. What he's doing is true, so he's not bullshitting us. I've already said that, but he's saying, he's alerting you to the truth of the matter, which is I wouldn't be here without all these people. Look how great they are. Whereas if he gave the performance of a lifetime, and he said, I'm good. Is that ever likable? I suppose it depends what energy you have. Either way, I think these qualities that we see in people aren't consistently exchangeable from person to person. Good qualities might change, or the qualities that we like in people, we might like somebody's modesty but hate it in somebody else because their modesty becomes dishonest, because their modesty is false. Maybe this is all quite basic stuff, when the modesty is concealing an extraordinary arrogance. But I don't think Keanu Reeves' modesty is concealing an extraordinary arrogance. Keanu Reeves' modesty is just, everything's great. I'm really lucky. Everybody's really great. Look at, the great work that she did on what's gone on, and let's all have a nice pizza, for God's sake. Whereas, the false modesty of another actor, I can't think of one off the top of my head, would be to go, oh no, really, no, I was awful. No, I was awful, and that's kind of irritating, isn't it? But what I think what I was getting towards here is that I really, really like people who can accurately analyze themselves and their best qualities. I really like hearing what people think is the best aspect of themselves. Obviously without delusion, but then it isn't really modesty or self-confidence that we don't find appealing. We don't find either of those things unappealing in and of themselves. What we find unappealing is delusion and dishonesty. I think that's all I have to say about that. That's quite a nice place to end that. Anyway, I am so fucking humble. I think I find it very easy to be humble because I've got such a, an enormous cock. I took my son to the football yesterday, and what an occasion it was. Oh, park that for 1 second. For the people who are watching this on YouTube, you can see that I'm in my brand new Central London recording space, which I'm so calling in a sort of jovial, a joking, highfalutin way. It isn't really the most incredible. I mean, it is it's right by where I was before. And I haven't done it up yet. So I apologise for the packages and my lovely And my lovely wall of books. I'm going to have to recreate my lovely wall of books all over again. Did you all like that as an aesthetic? I liked it as an aesthetic, my wall of books. I think the books are such or your collection of books are such an emblem of your character. All the things that you've thought, think, and learned. All the things that you've wanted to know, and all the stories that you've wanted to read and read. All of this knowledge and these narratives that have informed who you've become. It's such a story of who you are and what you've always wanted to be. I adore bookshelves. And I miss mine. But if you didn't like it, or you found it, what do you think's a good background? I can't believe I've spent 23 minutes talking about humility. It is good, and it's a good writing method when you're writing stand-up to see how long you can talk about something for whilst being engaging. And I hope it was. Jesus Christ, I have absolutely no idea. I took my son to the football yesterday. Liverpool versus Shrewsbury Town Football Club in the third round of the FA Cup. I'm not going to talk about the football itself because you may or may not be interested in that. There are other people that can talk about it with more expertise and more interestingly than I can. Very humble of me to say that, but it's also totally true. But they could not speak about the experience of taking their son to the football with perhaps the same level of existential decompartmentalizing anguish about with regard to the minutiae of everyday life and the how crippling it is to be a human being and to have procreated, and the love in combination with the despair, and the love and its combination and its relationship to despair. Oh, for fuck's sake. I want him to love Liverpool like I do. And the thing is that the amount that I love Liverpool Football Club is not something that's really easy to gauge for anybody else, because obviously they aren't me. I'm the only one who can truly know. My friends probably know how deeply engaged I am. Jessie really understands more than any non-football supporting person I've ever met. My girlfriend Jessie really understands how much I love Liverpool and how much it means. And I mean, obviously it's not actually important. Football isn't actually important, but so much that is important to us isn't actually important. And the whole notion of what is important is manufactured, like the stories and the things that you keep on your bookshelf. How important is Crossroads by Jonathan Franzen? Well, it's not important, is it? Is it? It's a book. It's a story to be told. Stories are important. And then I suppose in the same way that football is important. Football is a story. Football is something What's the Camus quote about football? I'll find it for you. The Camus football quote. Piss. Load. All that I know most surely about morality, Oh, for fuck's sake. All that I know most surely about morality and obligations I owe to football. And you could say the same thing about stories or your parents, but football and competition and sport generally, you learn a huge amount from. And, ideas of teamwork and what it is to put effort in and have reward come out. The relationship between hard work and talent, and that talent means fuck all. Some of the most heartbreaking stories, the most heartbreaking stories in football are all about wasted talent. And wasted talent is always, 95% of the time, the other 5% maybe because of injuries, bad luck. Talent can be blighted by bad luck, but more regularly will be blighted by a lack of hard work. And the best and most heartwarming stories in football are always that where a lack of natural talent is overcome or compensated for by extraordinary hard work. And you learn that. I've learned that. And all that it teaches you, I suppose, about inequality in terms of, I saw a good thing. So Molly May, this girl from Love Island, was on being interviewed for a podcast, and she said something. I mean, it's everybody on a podcast's, get out of the way. It's everybody on a podcast's nightmare to say something so fucking stupid and reprehensible. What a toxic combination. Was it stupid? Yes. But at least it wasn't reprehensible. Oh dear, it was reprehensible. She said, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. If you're not getting somewhere in life, you're not working hard enough. Or words to that effect. She goes, hard work. It's, if you put in hard work, no matter what your background, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. We can all have whatever we want. Now, I understand as a stupid person what she's, I'm not. This is a problem with people elevating people to a level whereby their opinions are asked for. It's like you venerate and celebrate people based on characteristics that are not valuable to human progression or society, whatever it is that you would like to call it. She does no good. Her input is not valuable, but it is asked for because culturally she is significant because of what we choose to celebrate, arguably the wrong things. Either way. So I don't necessarily think that she just shouldn't be asked for her opinion. Like many people who are asked for their opinion. But the point is, I saw something funny, a meme of her, what she said repurposed in the meme as Burnley Football Club, who are shit and have no money. We all play the same 38 games. Why can't Burnley just win the league? Big joke being that they have so much less money. Speaking of which, Shrewsbury Town, small club, and they scored first. And their fans went berserk away at Anfield, a huge and important football stadium, a huge and important football club. Liverpool is. It has a huge history. It's one of the most famous and revered football clubs in the world. That's the situation as it is. Shrewsbury Town are small, but the whole magic of the FA Cup is that the small clubs play the big clubs, and there's an opportunity for David to defeat Goliath. And it sort of makes it an underwhelming experience to watch as a fan of one of the bigger clubs, because you know that the best and most beautiful thing that could happen is that the team that you support loses. But I took my son, so I forgot that, and all I wanted to see was a victory. And yeah, and Liverpool did win, but Shrewsbury scored first, and for that moment, the little section of the crowd where they were sat erupted. This mad cacophony of batshit screaming energy. It was absolutely fantastic. They were. My Donnie looked up at me, like with huge, like bulbous eyes popping out of his head, going, but imperfect things aren't supposed to happen on days this important. What's going on? And I said, it'll be fine, knowing that it probably would be. But for that moment, for that photo of Shrewsbury 1, Liverpool 0 at that stadium on the scoreboard, for them, it's just it's huge, and it's magic, and it's whilst Molly May is not, she's fine. I don't want to make huge sweeping moral judgments about the quality of her character. She might be a well-meaning individual who sloppily said something stupid. Christ, that was hard to say. You know, but then I'm quite big into the idea that she is not saying that out of spite or malice or necessarily having a bad heart. She's saying it out of stupidity, which is something that doesn't need to be corrected with malice or aggression. You don't help her correct the sentiment. Like, I mean, she could have easily amended what she said. Anybody can do anything, but it's a lot easier for me to do anything than it is for somebody less fortunate. Bang. There you've got all the aspiration in there, and you've qualified it so that you acknowledge the position of yourself as someone who's fortunate. But as well as just financial background, there's also loads of other ways in which she might have been fortunate to be, you know, I don't think she's particularly attractive, but others do. Well, I mean, what is it to be attractive? She was on Love Island, right? She was one of these people who got onto Love Island because they were hot. And I understand that it has to be hot people. But it's also people with quite a narrow perception of what hot is. I don't think they are attractive, a lot of them. A lot of them are, obviously. But what, like, attractive and what constitutes being attractive, there are obviously things at either end of the scale that might render people kind of universally and in a broadly accepted sense unattractive. Like incredibly smelly breath, or maybe whatever it is, you know, you know what those things are. But it does homogenize, you know, things like Love Island, but it's not the only thing. Like the Marvel comic universe homogenizes the idea of what it is to be seen to be attractive. And that changes. So why not have a more broad like, I watched The Tourist, not a whodunit, but like that sort of vibe. Jamie Dornan, a drama, like him trying to He loses his memory and he's trying to figure his life out. Kind of memento-y, I guess. He's in Australia, and the woman from Dumpling is in it. About the overweight, or it's what you would call it, overweight girl who. I mean, overweight exists. You can be too heavy to be healthy. That just surely in the same way that you can be underweight. Just the scope of what constitutes healthy is way larger and more broad than what constitutes attractive. In my brain, obviously, it's all tediously subjective, isn't it? But subjectivity isn't without context or outside influence, isn't it? Whenever anybody says it's a matter of opinion, yeah, but also your opinion is built off of different facets, like of what you are, and what you are is what you've become, and what you've become is what you've become because of environmental factors. So I don't buy that. So, I mean, I thought she was really hot, and she's big. She is a lovely, lovely big girl. And she was hot. And I really want her to fuck Jamie Dornan in it. I haven't finished The Tourist yet. I really want her to. And I want it to be done without commotion. I think the word normalise is incredibly overused, and it is always said in this kind of rather mewling, condescending, can we normalise way that I dislike intensely, because it's always done to alert somebody that they've done wrong, thought wrong, in a sneering way. I'll put a pin in that and come back to it, because that's something I wouldn't mind talking about. I want Jamie Dornan to fuck. I must know her name. Come on, let's find out her name, because it's actually not good to be talking about somebody so much without knowing their name. It's just bad form, you know? If Dumpling is the name of the film, and the name of the actress is Danielle McDonald, and isn't she a lovely looking woman? I don't know how to compliment an aesthetic without sounding lascivious, but that was my best attempt. Danielle McDonald, I salute you. Also, in that show was Shalom Brune Franklin, who's also very attractive. But she is probably the only one out of the two of them that is appropriate to go on Love Island. And even if Jamie fucking Dornan went on Love Island, they'd still be going, he's a bit short. Oh, that guy's a bit short. I don't know. That's the only such diversity of accents in that programme, all the way from Essex to Liverpool to Newcastle, maybe even some Scottish people, maybe a Welsh lady. Oh no, he's lovely. Oh my God, I'm always like that. Ha 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 ha. But there isn't too much diversity in whether or not you've had... And if you do want to have something injected into your lips to make them look enormous, then that's great. But it doesn't need to be so pervasively, surely, the thing that is so visible in this program and on these programs that are meant to be showing you this is the best people can look, by the way. This is the very apex of fuckability. And it is all... the people that we watch on Love Island and the people that we watch in porn, very fucking different people. You know, what we present as thinking is fuckable is this clean and kind of sanitized version of what we really actually desire. I mean, this is anecdotal, obviously, because it's a fucking 34-year-old bloke's podcast, isn't it? But I'm not just talking from my own personal experience. I'm talking from my friendships as well, in which we talk about this sort of thing, don't you know? Moving this stuff here and trying to, like, get everything into a position whereby it was acceptable. And the wires, I mean, moving my computer screen, moving my desk, moving my light, moving my camera, taking the wires out, putting the wires in. When I started stand-up comedy in 2006, there was no such thing as a podcast. And now, a podcast is as necessary as doing a fucking gig in the first place. It's your calling card. Do you like my calling card? I set the stuff back up, put the wires into the computer to try and get the motherfucking thing to work. And suddenly there's the frame rate's wrong. And then I've got to YouTube frame rate, Streamlabs frame rate, and have some charismatic teenager go, what you want to do if the frame rate is down is you want to go onto audio settings on Streamlabs. So I'm sorry if this looks off, but I'm trying to record it in a different way. Excommunicating fucking Streamlabs from my life, because it is a pain in my asshole. And the anxiety and the fear of not being able to do this. I know it's already late. This podcast is meant to come out on Monday morning, and I'm recording it on Monday night because I went to the football with my son, because I couldn't get the thing to work on Saturday night after my show at the Soho Theatre. I've been doing shows at the Soho Theatre in preparation for my recording for Amazon. Don't know if I'm allowed to say the name of the streaming platform. Don't have heard that. Hope I don't need to cut that. Maybe I'll just ignore it and hope nobody finds out. Everybody fucking knows anyway. Stupid fucking thing. It's very exciting. It is really exciting. I'm very excited to be recording my stand-up show for the Soho Theatre to be broadcast on an anonymous streaming platform. I actually don't know which one it is. I really don't. It could be Amazon or Netflix or Mubi. I could be doing it on Mubi, you know. The Soho Theatre stand-up specials on Mubi. I'd like to be a Mubi member. I might become a Mubi member. Could Mubi sponsor me? Everybody who Mubi sponsors already really likes films. Surely Mubi would do well to sponsor somebody like me who is just sort of trying to get into the idea of film, trying to have greater knowledge, trying to watch it better. All of these things and your ability to interpret anything, whether it be comedy or film, football even. I want to be able to engage with film and learn how to watch it so as to garner a deeper understanding of it. I also want to be able to do that with football. My absolute dream is to understand better tactically what is happening. I think that with cricket as well. All sports, I want to be able to analyze and break down things like technique and tactics, but it's never been, even watching it's never been a strong suit of mine. I watch sport in quite a dumb way. Comedy I can watch on a analytical and intellectual level. I'm all right, depending on what I'm reading, obviously. Music, fine, probably above average, but if you know, below average in terms of music lovers. I don't know. To develop that skill in myself. So sponsor me, Mubi. And thank you for putting out my stand-up special in conjunction with the Soho Theatre. I'm very excited to be performing it with you. So I've got that on the 21st. If any listeners of the Alfie Brown Show want to come and be in the audience at either of the recordings at the Soho Theatre, they are on the 21st of January. I'm doing it with Felicity Ward, who is so incredibly good, it gives me energy. I paid my own hard cash to go and see the show that she's performing, and I can tell you, as a matter of fact, it is very, very good. So come one, come all. Cometh the hour, cometh the me. Yeah, I'll be doing that. I just, yeah, I suppose that was my previous point. I didn't realise I'd have to be good at tech when I was starting out doing this business. And then I wanted to talk to you about my stand-up Soho warm-up shows. Then I was going to talk to you about the fact that I had my booster, my COVID booster. Knocked me out. Which I didn't really want to say. I didn't really want to say that it negatively affected me, because then idiots use that as an excuse. Well, you know, what good is that? If it makes you ill for a day, then just don't have it. Which is just so stupid, isn't it? Stupid? You know what else I've really gotten into with my son? Is Michael McIntyre's game show, The Wheel. The Wheel. Ba-bum-bum-ba-bum-bum. The Wheel. How The Wheel works is there are 3 civilians and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 celebrities. And each celebrity has a specialist topic. And one of the 3 civilians comes up through a hole in the floor and chooses one of the topics. There are 7 or 8 topics, one to go with each celebrity. And they pick the celebrity. They obviously the gold. The one on a celebrity then goes on gold to help the civilian answer the question, and another celebrity is shut down in red. And then the wheel spins, and if it lands on the gold celebrity, then they get the expert to help them answer the question. And if it lands on red, then they go back down through the floor, which is quite harrowing, really, because that's where hell is, isn't it? And then another, corpse is exhumed through Michael McIntyre's studio floor, and he's very good at that job. I don't even say that in a kind of, he's very good at that job. It's good for what it is. It's not what I mean. He's a good stand-up, and he's a good presenter of the game show The Wheel. It's a great game show. That's what I say to Jessie constantly when we're watching it. It's such a good game show. And it can be enjoyed as such. You know? Not everything has to be... just be a bit exhausting if you lived your whole life having to improve yourself. I mean, that's not what it's for. The development producers and Michael McIntyre and everybody involved in the wheel didn't develop it so that it would change our lives watching it. It's just fun to be watched. To have the family in communion as we shout, "No way! That's where we get our Christmas tree in Trafalgar Square from, you fucking say no way!" That's what we do. That's what it's for. It's to, create the experience of communal watching, a communal family watching experience. And it's very hard to do that and to have, not everything can be The Jungle Book or Ratatouille, the greatest film of our generation, or any generation, really. I hope that's been all right. I hope you've enjoyed the podcast. I have my first one in my central London new recording studio space, so tell me what you thought. Like, subscribe and like. Listen, watch. If you've got a social media account, then please, for God's sake, share this. If you've got any favourite bits from the episode, please let me know what they were. Clips that are under a minute long. It's hard to do with a solo podcast. Maybe I should just do like longer bits, like Sarah Silverman on IGTV. I don't know what to do. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between, this has been the Alfie Brown Show. This has been the 10th of January. This has been 2022. Please engage with me on the internet and let me know you exist. This is the dance that we're all in. Let's create a community around the podcast. Let's have a special name that I refer to you as friends or brothers and sisters. Hello, brothers and sisters. I like that a lot. It's kind of got a religious element to it. Again, I think brothers and sisters is great. Let's create a community around the podcast. Any bright ideas on anything I should talk about? Any requests? Please let me know. Send them my way. This has been it for this week. Engage, and make the best of yourselves this week. Until next Monday, goodbye.